Let's play as it's Resulka, and we're playing Eagle Eye Mysteries. Mrs. Garcia must be out for the day, but Mr. Lightfoot is here. He's intense. He writes science fiction and spy novels for a living and volunteers at the library when Mrs. Garcia is out. He's also a liar and a fraudster. Hi, kids. Mrs. Garcia is off on her annual whitewater rafting trip, so I'm here filling in for her. If I can help you find anything, just let me know. Actually, we're here looking for some information on dog training and obedience. Do you have anything like that? What is it you want to know? I have a good friend who's a dog trainer. Maybe he can help. His name is Randy Hicks. Randy's out of town this weekend at a conference on holistic vegetarian dog nutrition, but he'll be back on Monday if you can wait till then. In the meantime, why don't you pick up his training book, Lick the Hand That Feeds You? It stresses dog-owner relationships and communication. Oh, well, that pretty much says that he didn't do it because he wasn't in town. Randy Hicks? We know Randy Hicks. He's a kid. That's kind of weird. We've only met Randy once, but still, he was one of the children. Suddenly he's grown up and has become an author and dog trainer. The non-fiction section contains Randy Hicks' books. There's a photo of the author on the back cover. Oh, thrilling. An entry in the encyclopedia's D volume reads, Dog, Canis familiaris. Familiaris? A domesticated animal of the dog Canidae. Canidae? To which wolves, jackals, and foxes also belong. Trained to live with human over 10,000 years ago, dogs were bred by human for specialized traits, creating 130 breeds now recognized by the American Kennel Club. Dogs have exceptional sense of smell and hearing. Their powerful noses allow them to track for miles scents that are undetectable to humans. Because of their remarkable hearing, dogs can be trained with silent whistles that use sound frequencies far above the range of human hearing. The library computer lists several dog obedience books, but most of them are listed as checked out. That's strange. Someone must be studying up on dog behavior. Let me find out who they're assigned out to. Professor Crank! The master of computer lists those books as all being signed out to Professor Crank. Maybe he bought a puppy. I don't know if he'd mind you dropping in, but it's worth a shot. I've been there! It's the first place I go to when I can go to see him. 'Cause he's wonderful. He's wonderful. Alas, I think he's got a problem with this. Whoa! Someone's got to stick up their ass. Their ass. I could say ass, or any way that anyone would like, but my god, that's one ramrod bitch. Mrs. Harper and Mrs. Preston have been friends for years. They met at a finishing school in England. They must be celebrating Fifi's victory together. Hello, Fifi. You're a horrible-looking little thing. Fifi is Mrs. Harper's purebred Pekingese. She is snuffling at the ground near your feet and eyeing you suspiciously. You're looking mighty suspiciously suspicious. Fifi's collar is made of a pale blue leather with what looks like diamond studs. A gold tag hanging from her collar has Fifi stamped on one side and Vandermeer Dog Studios on the other. As you can see, we send my precious Fifi to the finest obedience school in the state. That was before Mrs. Preston opened Pretty Puppy, of course. Of course! Hello, children, do come in. Let me show you Fifi's first prize ribbon. It's her first, and she's so proud. Aren't you, my little Wookiecoms? Mummy Little Sweetums has earned her favorite treatsy-weetsy, haven't you, Angelkins? Oh, yummy, Mummy. Eat that lovely steak all up. Mummy's so proud of you. You're scary, Mrs. Harper. Naturally, I am pleased for dear Linda. Fifi is a fine example of her breed, but I must confess I am distressed at the obedience trial result of my other 3 pupils. Those dogs went through my most rigorous Rigorous training. I almost said rigorous, but well, that doesn't work. They did well in training to be good house dogs, and they also mastered field commands and the silent whistle. It was very disappointing to me that they had failed in obedience, I must admit. It's bad for my business, too. I had displayed my training school logo on each of their booths. Oh dear, we cannot have this. Find out what happened, children. Okay. I think we've got this dog mystery by the tail. Pick 5 clues that you think the best show. What really happened at the dog show? At the dog show. At the dog show. I think it should be not any of these. This one and this one. And this one. And this one. This one. Those are the clues we need to sniff out the culprit. Who do you think's responsible for all those puzzled pooches? Unfortunately, it was Professor Crank. We love you, Professor Crank, but you're naughty. You're a naughty boy. You got Professor Crank used all those canines. Let's check the evidence. Mrs. Bellario told us that her dog Kiki perked up her ears before she ran for the obedience trials. Nicola Hamble told us that her dog Nisha ran from the ring as if answering a call, but she didn't hear anything. Mr. Carici told us that when his dog Shadow failed the trials, he noticed other dogs whining and his dog was trying to pull him towards the woods. Mrs. Preston told us that she had trained each of these 3 failing dogs herself, and that they were also trained in field work with a silent whistle. At the library, we learned that dogs can hear sounds that are made by a silent dog whistle that are too high a frequency to be picked up by human ears. Professor Crank showed us his new invention, Pika the robot dog, and mentioned that he'd been testing it in Taylor Park earlier today. Professor Crank told us that he uses a high-frequency dog whistle to control his robot dog. It was his whistles that were confusing the dogs at the show. Ah, Nancy, put your glasses on. Now, did you write the article? Oh no, it's the Courier, so someone actually wrote stuff. Look at this! Resulka made the front page of the Courier. Like always, that robot dog was really something. Resulka did a great job on the case, figuring out how Professor Crank accidentally ruined the dog show. This clipping deserves a place in our scrapbook. They all have a place in our scrapbook. Resulka didn't prove that we weren't barking up the wrong tree on this canine caper. Smug Doug shrugs at bugs. Really? Smug Doug shrugs at bugs. That is actually quite fun to say. I suggest you all say it. Smug Doug shrugs at bugs. I must remember that. Robot Pet makes the fur fly at the dog show. The Richview dog fanciers announced the results of the retrials of their big annual dog show. Sharing first place were Gentleman Valiant, owned by Nicola Hamble, and Linda Harper's Elegant Precious. The runners-up included Princess Titania, owned by Mrs. Polaria, and Mr. Carici's Vincento Caruso. The retrials, according to Dr. Kendra Richview's dog fancier's president, were brought on by an investigation by the eagle-eyed detective agency Resulka. Resulka proved that our first trails had been accidentally disturbed by Professor Crank, who was testing his robot dog in the nearby woods, said Dr. Kendra. Professor Crank controls his robot dog with the same kind of silent dog whistle that Mrs. Preston used to train some of the dogs in our show. When the dogs heard the whistle, which was too high for humans to hear, they ran towards the sound as they'd been trained to do. This disqualified them from the show. Professor Crank apologized for the trouble he had caused, and even enrolled his robot dog in Mrs. Preston's training school. Amazing. Simply amazing. Let's go do the case of the Buffling Bones. Smug Doug. Something at bugs? I can't remember what he does at bugs. Oh my god, I have got the memory of a cat. Smug Doug laughs at bugs, or something like that. Scoffs at bugs. I don't know. Jennifer and Resulka, did you hear? Mark Moriarty found some bones near his fort. Dr. Knox thinks it may be a real discovery, a major discovery. Sounds like to me like another one of Mark's tricks. Let's go check it out, Resulka. I would have to agree with you there, Jennifer. In fact, I'm not even going to switch to Jake because, he just wouldn't get it. In any case, we're now out of time, so we'll have to find out what's up at Mark's house, in the next video. See you guys soon.